In addition, $2 billion of additional aid, military aid for Ukraine over the course of the next year. We're announcing that today. The Minister of National Defense will give details. And in addition to that, something Ukraine needs, which is 400 armored vehicles. We'll be supplying those in kind.
Well, there you have it. Mark Carney pledges another $2 billion to Ukraine. A sexual predator seeks transfer to a woman's prison. And at 7:30, we are joined by CCFR's VP of Public Relations, Tracey Wilson, to speak about the new email legal gun owner like myself received yesterday. My name is Nico Lagan, and I'm too conservative for the conservatives. My co-host Rob Ambrose, not woke enough for the liberals. We are the political orphans. As you can see, my co-host is not there. No idea what's happening, but he's a liberal, so he always shows up late. Sometimes he doesn't show up, and we'll see if he's... Oh, there you go. 7 minutes late.
Yeah,
so let's start with the... Let's start... no, you did not, but...
I did. You'll see it when you check your
phone. The point is that Mark Carney announced $2 billion of our money once again going to Ukraine. This is as today. So let's listen to the announcement. It's not very long. It's about a minute long. But let's listen to this and then discuss what that actually means.
So we're tightening that lifeblood from the Russian economy, along with our allies. Also, additional financial sanctions, a lowering of the oil price cap in coordination with the EU and the United Kingdom. In addition, $2 billion of additional aid, military aid for Ukraine over the course of the next year. We're announcing that today. The Minister of National Defense will give details. And in addition to that, something Ukraine needs, which is 400 armored vehicles. We'll be supplying those in kind. I would note as well, I didn't mention this in French, but we are the third largest contributor to the Pearl air defense system that is coordinated by NATO. So Canada stands with Ukraine. The Coalition of the Willing stands with Ukraine. We're in it for the long haul. Russia is failing. The sooner they come to the table and actually participate in peace negotiations, the better it will be.
There you have it. Mark Carney telling us that once again he's spending $2 billion of our taxpayers' money, sending it to the Ukraine. That makes over $10 billion in the past 10 months since 2023. That makes $10 billion over the past 10 months. And since 2023, Canada's pledged over $24 billion to Ukraine. Meanwhile, Canada has the worst food inflation in the G7. The average working Canadian is paying over 42% of their salaries to taxes, yet we keep bankrolling the highest paid actor of all time, Zelensky, while, if I may add, his government is under investigation for fraud and corruption. And as mentioned in the comment, because that is absolutely accurate, Pierre Poilievre has yet to mention anything about this. As Wilf is saying, still haven't heard a single word out of Pierre Poilievre about the billions of dollars we've been sending to Ukraine. And that is both under Trudeau and Carney. So here we are.
Yeah, I mean, you got to ask yourself, what are we getting for this money? Like, what is the return on investment here? What, like, for this $10 billion? Because you could, I mean, I'm sure the study, you could easily do a study that says, okay, here's what we could have got if we put that $10 billion into healthcare. Here's what we could have got if we put it into education. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not hard to do this sort of analysis. And I cannot imagine how you could make the argument that what we got by giving $10 billion to Ukraine, how does that benefit Canadians? Like, how does that change our lives in a measurable way, in the ways that matter to us? No one gives a shit about, you know, spreading democracy or like some idealistic Cold War era narrative where, you know, what happens on the other side of the world is somehow good for Canada. No, it isn't. Like it doesn't. I do not think Russia is a threat to Canada. I just don't. And I
Yeah, neither
don't
do I.
think, yeah, and I just don't think that, you know, they tried to make this argument like the Putin's basically Hitler, and if we give Ukraine, he's gonna roll into fucking Europe. Like, get your head out of the fucking Cold War ass, man. Like, that is not going to happen. That is not Putin's goal, is to roll into Europe with tanks. That's idiotic. The world is a lot different from 1939. It's not. That's just is not done. It's not going to be done. So what are we spending $10 billion for? What is the, where's the return on investment to this?
Mark Carney and his investments through Brookfield.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's
That's all there is. But that's all there is. Do you think
Yeah.
it's a coincidence that Chrystia Freeland now works for Zelensky? Like, you think that's
Well, yeah,
a coincidence that after giving she was a minister during this whole time, during the $24 billion
That's right.
that's been given
And then she
to
goes
Ukraine?
to Ukraine.
Oh yeah,
And then
that's a coincidence.
2 months later, there's a $2 million check for no obvious reason. Like,
There's
you
also,
know,
guys, don't forget that Brookfield through what's the name of the company? They didn't do it through their own company. They did it through a company that they own. Their negotiation, they got a contract. They got the confirmation for a contract for nuclear reactors work between Westinghouse.
Okay.
So through they are the biggest owner of Westinghouse, and through Westinghouse, they've got a 70 to 80 billion dollar contract in nuclear energy to provide to Ukraine. But that's a coincidence that we keep sending money there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the even if there's no, you know, quote unquote smoking gun hard evidence of corruption, there's certainly a whiff of it, and there's more than just a whiff of it around here. You know, there's a great comment here by the Marksman, says, and this is kind of what you were just talking about, mentioning Freeland. He says, what is Carney and Freeland's cut of the additional $2 billion? We just borrowed $2 billion the last time it was given to Ukraine.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's two interesting points there. One is, yeah, like, you don't have to be conspiracy theorists to put that timetable together. If nothing else, it deserves a closer look, certainly. Like, you know, if a legitimate, genuine close look has been done, like forensic accounting and by you know, neutral parties that you can trust, yeah, sure, I would accept that. But to just say, oh, no, it's a conspiracy theory, we can't even investigate it, that's suspicious as fuck. To just immediate, like, this, absolutely, maybe there isn't corruption, but there's certainly enough to launch a real investigation.
Oh no, but there's 100% corruption. It's bullshit if you don't believe that there's corruption. Like, here is Westinghouse. That's their own website. I found that as you were talking here. So here's Westinghouse back in, that was June 10th last year when Mark Carney was prime minister. Westinghouse and Energoatom reinforce Ukraine's energy independence with partnership for fuel assembly capacity. So they're basically, that's one of the other contracts that they have. If you look just at what comes up out of Google, they have a bunch of new AP1000 reactors that are heading there. That started in 2021, 2022, 2024. There's an additional bunch of VVER 1000 and VVER 440. Local fuel assembly production in 2025. So it's very easy to see that there's massive problems here. And just so you know, this Energoatom is the name of the nuclear energy department in Ukraine. So this is owned by the government, but kind of similar to a Crown Corporation, from what I understand.
Yep.
And right now, the leader, the person in charge of it, is under investigation for fraud and corruption. So you can't even make this shit up. This is something you don't even need to dig. Just Google Energoatom and look at fraud. That's it. It's going to come up. So right now they're being investigated, and we continue sending money there. It's absolutely insane. And what blows my mind the most is that Canadians are just like, oh yeah, oh yeah, that's totally normal, nothing to see here. Yep, business as usual.
Well, yeah, it's just, I mean, look, it's fucking, it's $10 billion at a time when, frankly, we could use it. You know, it might even be a little different if the streets were paved with gold and there weren't homeless people sleeping on every street and vets weren't sleeping in the streets, and, you know, food inflation was not at its all-time high. And, you know, now we're bracing for something that's going to happen if, say, Kuzma gets canceled. Like, there's a lot of reasons why we might want to penny pinch a little bit and be careful about what we're doing with our money. Certainly, if nothing else, there should have been a discussion or a debate or a public debate about this. You know, there should have been talk about this. Do we want to be sending $10 billion to Ukraine? I don't believe that the average Canadian gives a shit. I just don't think they care one way or the other. What they do care about, though, is how much groceries are, right? They do care about how long our wait times are to get that tumor cut out of their body. That's what Canadians care about. I don't understand who would, even if you just casually support Ukraine because like, oh yeah, you know, go Ukraine, blah blah blah. No sane person should ever be wanting to spend money on that. Like, where's the benefit to Canada? And if you're only
there's none.
Yeah,
there's benefits for some Canadians.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
and it ain't you and I. That's for damn sure. It's definitely not you and I.
No, you're right. And I just want to go back to that comment there from the marksman here. And there was a second point to this, and this is a great point too. He says we just borrowed $2 billion the last time it was given to Ukraine. We're borrowing this money, right?
Yeah, we're printing it.
We don't.
That's how we create inflation.
We're borrowing it. We're adding to our debt to give to Ukraine. This is not a fund. We're not fucking Scrooge McDuck, you know, swimming through his pile of gold coins. We're borrowing this money, and you know who's paying that back? It's not even going to be you. It's going to be your kids. It's going to be your grandkids.
No, it's going to be us, because if you look at, you know, we talked a lot about food inflation. We had the food professor on the show a few times over the past month to speak about this. Yep. They normally, from what I could find, it's normally 3 to 4 years. So right now we've been giving them money since 2023.
Yep.
And that's $24 billion. That is $24 billion that's been added to our debt that we had to print at interest, which means inflation. You're devaluating the amount of money that's in distribution in Canada, meaning you're causing higher and higher levels of inflation. And I guarantee you that $24 billion will show on the food inflation that we have, because it's money we don't have that's printed at an interest that we can't repay. It's absolutely insane, but it's all that money that we keep printing that's causing the inflation that we're seeing today, and yet people are not understanding that very, very simple principle.
It's wild, man.
If you print money you don't have, the more you print money, the more you devalue your money. That's it. That is as simple as possible. That is very, very simple. And we're printing it not to save ourselves. You're printing it in order to help another country. Yeah, fuck this noise. Absolutely not. I don't care about what goes on in the Ukraine. I could not give two shits. I care about Canadians. Plain and simple. Don't care about what's going on over there.
I don't. And listen, I'd love to hear if there's anyone out there who can make a solid persuasive argument for why giving this money is in Canadians' best interest. And I don't care about your personal reason. If you just love Ukraine, that's not a good enough reason. If your grandmother's from Ukraine, not a good enough reason. I understand why you personally might support Ukraine in that context, and you're free to give as much of your money as you want to Ukraine. Yep. But that is not a reason why the country of Canada, with its 40 million taxpayers, not everyone's a taxpayer, but I know. But 40 million people. But the point is, you're taking, right? If you're going to take money from the Canadian taxpayer, you have to be able to explain how this is a benefit to Canada, and no one will be able to do that.
Nope. Absolutely not.
simple
It's going to
question.
be
It's a
oh,
simple question.
yeah, it's only going to be benefit to certain Canadians. I want to switch to our next topic because the next one's for you. You're going to enjoy that one. But before we do, I need to speak about our sponsor, our new sponsor, actually. This episode of The Political Orphans is brought to you by Miss Cleo Pet Treats. 100% natural, healthy, handmade dog treats made in Canada. So the meat is sourced from Manitoba. That's where she's from. So no nasty Chinese meat. And because you're an orphan, you can get 20% off your entire purchase. Just look in the comments below and you will see the website cleocookiesandtreats.ca. Use the discount code political orphans to get 20% off your entire purchase. I'm waiting for my first order. I should be getting it tomorrow or the day after. I'm looking forward to it because our German Shepherd does not eat crap and our treats are stupid expensive.
Nice.
Stupid expensive.
It's
I'm not
Miss
talking about these ones. I'm
Cleo.
talking Miss Cleo.
It's Cleo. I love that.
So because we have a guest at 7:30, we need to get into this one. And this one is for you. This one made me sick. I actually was kind of swearing by myself. I can't even understand how we got to this, but here is an article I fell on earlier in the National Post. Judge to decide if trans inmate serving time for sexual assaults against women will be moved to a female prison. A dude by the name of Amanda Coopers is saying that I'm a woman with a vagina in a man's prison. Sorry. You think it's safe for me here? And you know what's interesting is that the National Post doesn't go into much detail as to actually what happened here, but I did some digging.
Fucking wild, man.
Oh no, but hold on.
Holy hell.
I did some digging in order to find what type of individual we're talking about here.
Okay.
And we're talking about a dude that's been in prison since 2021. Since 2001. So he's been in prison for almost 25 years now.
Okay.
Because of multiple sexual assaults against women and girls. That's something that no articles out there actually talk about. As young, from what I could find, he did it to 3 little girls as young as 11. In 2018, while he was in prison, he assaulted a female prison staff member. Taxpayers funded his 2024 gender-affirming surgery while he was in prison. And now he wants to be moved to a female prison for fear of being raped by male inmates after his 2024 gender-affirming care. All I have to say to this dude is get the fuck out of here. It's called fucking karma. And I value the security of these women at those women prison a lot more than you. And you know what, bro? You fucking deserve what's coming. I hope they throw you in general population. I have no pity. If there's one thing I do not accept is rapists and pedophile. Those are my line. No. I know it's not very Christian of me, but these guys deserve whatever they get. And this is bullshit that not only did we pay for his surgeries, but now because his gender matches his genitalias,
what's his
they're
name?
Considering they call him Amanda Joy Cooper.
Was his real name? Is it Adam Lubikin or something like that? I'm trying to think. Hold on. I'm thinking of.
I'm trying to find it. I found it earlier. Okay. I don't know why I didn't write it down, but let me look for it.
What
yeah, let me look for it. I can't even you can't even find a picture.
Really?
Of what that Nope. It's literally like he's been in prison since 2021, so before we could take a million different pictures all the time. But and you know what's funny? His lawyer's a woman.
Oh yeah, of course, man. It is,
How,
you know,
it's
there's a lot of blame to go around for this movement, but it is the foot soldiers, the ones pushing it are white liberal women.
and
That
she
is
is definitely
fundamentally
looking
it.
like that.
Yeah. They are the foot soldiers of this entire movement. You know, there's lots of blame to go around. It's it's the autogynephilic men those guys are at the head of the movement. They're in charge of it. There's this big debate on Twitter and like who's responsible for transgenderism and ideology. And some people say it's the women who are pushing this ideology, and then other people say no, it's the men. It's the men who are benefiting. And I'm sitting there thinking it's fucking both of them, man. Like it's like asking what's more important, your brain or your heart. Well, they're both. You die without either one, right? It's the same thing. Like that movement could not exist without either one. If there wasn't the autogynephilic men at the head of the movement who are getting all the benefits, the cross-dressing men who are getting these social and cultural benefits that they never have before, if they didn't exist, there would be no point to the movement. But at the same token, if you didn't have these legions of let's call a spade here, largely white liberal women, middle-aged white liberal women, as the foot soldiers, the people enforcing this on the ground. These are the women who are pushing for people, or the people who are pushing for people to be canceled, right? Those are the groups that are pushing for people to lose their jobs, to lose everything, because they don't believe that men can give birth and women can have penises.
But that's a sad reality that, in my opinion, it is women that enabled this. Because the range, no, it's women, because if they said no from the get-go, it wouldn't have happened. If they put their foot down and say no, there's always going to be deranged, mental, ill people that are going to try to get something. But if the women out there say no, you know what, this ain't happening,
no, it would have stopped.
That movement would have died.
And at the same time, and without the autogynephilic men who the movement exists to serve, there would be no point of it either. Like they're both equally, there's blame to go around.
Oh, they're both to blame. Don't get me wrong. They're absolutely. If those men didn't exist, we wouldn't have that problem.
It wouldn't be an issue. Yeah.
But it would have been one of those situations that if they would have cut it off from the get-go, well, that was a nice pun. That's not what I meant to say. They would have cut it off from the get-go. They would have cut that movement from the get-go. Just say, no, we don't accept this. It would have been done. It would have never gone forward. But then you had those feminist women out there that not only condoned this, but accepted the devaluation of what a woman is, which is pretty much anybody that feels like a woman now. It's absolutely ludicrous.
And I think it's, just for accuracy, like it's important to single out specifically who we're talking about, because it isn't all women, because there are women,
no.
Radical feminists
Agreed.
who are aggressively pushing back, but it is a very specific type of white liberal middle-aged woman. And yes, that's a stereotype. Yes, it's an archetype, but obviously not every single white middle-aged white woman. Of course, there's plenty who are not pushing this stuff, but as a broad generalization, it works, and anyone who thinks it doesn't work has not been in the trenches of this fight. They are the foot soldiers of the movement, and again, that doesn't mean that that doesn't take any blame away from the men, the cross-dressing autogynephilic men who are at the head of the movement. They're the leaders of it. These are this is the only group that's actually successful in any form of life. Like these are the guys that are CEOs, military officers, a very small select group. The other 98% of the whole trans community is just almost universally just fails socially. Like 30-year-old, 40-year-old living with their parents, just not well-adjusted human beings. And of course, that is the appeal of the trans identity, right? What would be more appealing to a group of people who feel like they don't fit in? This world isn't made for them. And now you've got some magic pill. Oh, the real answer is you're actually born in the wrong body. Like, and again, and this is why it's such a disgusting ideology. because they haven't asked questions why autistic people are so overrepresented. Right, autistic people are a massive number of especially teenage trans-identified people, and that didn't raise any eyebrows. And yet the thing is autistic people are uniquely susceptible to the argument that there's something wrong with their body, that they don't fit in their body, just because of what autism is. You are naturally uncomfortable in your body. So then you've got this group come around and telling you that the problem is actually you're the opposite sex, born in the wrong body. You're going to believe, a lot of these people are going to believe that. And then they're being led down a road of medicalization, sterilization, because they just don't have the intellectual ability to defend themselves against these ideas the way that, say, you or I would. It's evil.
Oh, it's definitely indoctrination. That we can definitely agree on this one. That being said, we have a guest. I was going to cut you off if you didn't finish right there. I was going to cut you right there so that we can talk.
Get the hook off the.
Yeah, you were getting the hook. Absolutely. Tracey, you ready to go? Thumbs up. You can hear us. Awesome. We are joined by CCFR VP of Public Relations, Tracey Wilson, to speak about the new email people like me received yesterday from the RCMP. Tracey, nice having you again. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me back again.
Hey, Tracey. How's it going?
Good. I just got back from Nashville. I was at the SCI convention, the biggest hunting convention in the world. Okay. So I've got a little bit of the trade show plague. So I've been coughing and yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's somebody I was talking to earlier that wants me to say hi to you. She goes by the name of Brass Loving Brunette. I don't know what her full name is. We follow each other on Instagram.
Sure. Yeah, that's my girl. Yeah.
She wanted me to say hi to you, so because I remembered.
Okay.
I say hi for her.
Yeah, I love that girl.
Yeah, I'm gonna try because just so you guys know, I've approached Tracey today in order to speak about the demographics of women when it comes to firearms. I would really like to educate, because we can't change anything without education. And in my opinion, like we were just talking about, those middle-aged white women, they have a lot of power. If you can convince those women to embrace firearms, that it would change the gun rights that we have in Canada. So
yeah, that's part of our.
That's a natural group, frankly. Yeah. That's a natural gun-owning group.
Yeah,
and that's why I approached Tracey, so we can do some content around this, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll put something together on that, because we have a national women's program, and I take about 4,000 women a year to the range who've never touched a gun before. So yeah,
that's it, huh? 4,000. That's it.
Wild.
Yeah,
that's great work.
that is great work. I actually think, and I don't know if you're going to get in this at some point just to talk strategy briefly, but do you guys approach it? Like, what is the messaging from your group? Do you approach it from
hold on, Rob. Now I'm giving you the hook, because this is something that we're planning. I don't want to spend the show on this. This is something I don't want to give it away, and I'd like to have an episode just about this so that we can put more content out there to help women understand. Because today I really wanted to talk about the email that we got yesterday. And that's why I approached you, and I want to talk about what you guys are doing in Quebec City over the weekend, since it's on Saturday. Yes. Now, I went through the email. I got a few pointers here. They're just reminding us that the assault style firearm compensation program closes on March 31st. They claim that they've received over 32,000 firearms that's been successfully declared. If we do not declare our firearm by March 31st, we're no longer entitled to it. Firearms must be disposed or permanently deactivated by October 30th, which that's an interesting choice of word, and I wanted to get your opinion on that one. And it also mentions, surprisingly, that I found interesting, while some police services choose not to participate in the ASFCP, this does not impact the role of police in enforcing the law on the possession of prohibited firearms, nor does it change your obligation as a law-abiding citizen, firearm owner, to comply with the law. It's very interesting that they mentioned that.
Yeah, there's actually nothing new there. So what's going on
No.
is, as you know, they launched this program in mid-January. It's got a very short runway, and we're going to address that because something else happened today that I want to bring up to you. But it's got a short runway. It's like 2.5 months long, the entire buyback portion of the program. So either way, gun owners are protected by the amnesty out until the end of October. However, for those wishing to compete against their fellow gun owners, and this is not me, I do not fall in this category. I will not be self-reporting and declaring my firearms to the government. Now, they know of a couple of the ones I have because they were previously registered because they were restricted. That's my AR-15s. They know I've got them. There's no hiding them. I mean, that's not a thing. They know I've got them. And you could be charged for not being able to produce them if they came up with a production order. It doesn't mean I'm obligated to participate in this farce of a buyback program, the assault style firearm compensation program. There are over 2 million guns affected by this program. And so far, 2/3 of the way through their program, they've only managed to get 32,000 declarations. Like, what a dismal failure of a program. So what's going on is they sent out this email as a reminder. I think as if we didn't already know this was going on, they're trying to really entice you to get going on it. And of course, with the threat that the money isn't going to run out. Right when you click on the link to do the declaration, it tells you right there, filling out this declaration does not guarantee you any compensation. So, the other problem is that what's going to happen between April 1st, when the declaration period closes, and October is the confiscations, right? So a lot of people didn't think about this. They think, well, I'll fill out the declaration. I don't actually have to do anything after that until October, the end of October, because I've got the amnesty. That's not true. If you filled out the declaration and you've given the government your list of guns, then as of April 1st, especially in jurisdictions where they've got buy-in from police, they're going to be coming to get your guns or making appointments with you to turn them in. You will not get to sit on your guns and hope something changes before October, or wait and see if it gets extended, or, if we get into the Supreme Court, a number of things could happen. So if you filled out that declaration, it's actually too late for you. I know there is a process you can do to withdraw your declaration. And if you've declared, I would suggest you go and withdraw that. You're not likely to get paid anyways. They're only paying for, I think, 132,000 firearms out of 2 million. So it's like the Hunger Games for gun owners. You're not going to get anything. So you're better to hold the line, do nothing, do not declare, do not fill anything out, and sit here. Look, I'll be honest. When October rolls around and it's like, okay, none of these things that we were hoping happen, and it's the end of the line. Yeah, I mean, my AR-15s, I'm going to have no choice but to turn them in or destroy them or whatever. Something will have to happen, push or pull at that point, right? Because they know I've got them. There's no hiding that. But in the meantime, a bunch of different things can happen. So this email is generated to scare people, and it's worked. Like, a lot of people are like, oh no, time is running out. I better hurry up and do this. The other thing people are saying is, well, if I don't participate in this, they're not going to renew my firearms license. That's not accurate. If by the end, like I said, by the end of October, people like me who have AR-15s, they know about them. Those were previously registered. If I was to do nothing and not even do anything then, and nothing happens, then yeah, the government's going to look at my firearms license and be like, wait a minute, Tracey's got a couple of previously restricted, therefore registered firearms. She never turned them in. She never did anything. Knock, knock, knock. They'll come with a production order. They'll ask me to produce those firearms. I'll produce them, and I'll be charged with being in illegal possession of a prohibited firearm. And of course, when that happens, then you can't have a firearms license. It does not mean you have to participate in the buyback portion, but it does mean that should that amnesty actually run out this time and not be extended, yeah, you're going to have to do something about it. So there's a lot of misinformation that's been floating around. somebody floated the idea that people who have not participated in the buyback part, trying to claim money, the declarations, that those people can't get their firearms license renewed. And that is completely false. So, yeah. Now, there's actually one other thing that's happened. I don't know if you have a question or if I'm just rambling on.
No,
but I actually have a really interesting thing that has happened. And I had a gentleman reach out to me today. He's a member. Did about this on social media. I've had a number of other people reach out with the exact same problem. And he's a serving member of the Canadian military. He's currently on deployment. He was deployed before Gary Anandasangri, the Minister of Public Safety, implemented the buyback program, before they opened up this portal. So he's already deployed. He's overseas. He's gone. He's not at home. He's on deployment, and he's, of course, a firearms owner. So he's getting the same emails that you and I are getting. And he's like, okay. He got the warning one that we all just got yesterday. And he's like, okay, maybe I don't know what to do. I'm way over here. My wife is at home alone. I'm going to fill out the declaration. And like, look, I am not doing it, and I'm asking people not to do it. But ultimately, everyone has to do what's right for them and make their own decision. So this guy goes into the portal, and he goes to fill out his information. And of course, it asks you, the make and model of your firearms, and he puts it down. But you also have to include the serial numbers. And he's like, I don't know, they were previously non-restricted. Like, I'm not walking around with the serial numbers for my firearms in my army kit on deployment. Like, I have no idea. So he calls the call center for the program, and he talks to a person on the phone there, and they said, yeah, no, you cannot fill this out without the serial numbers. And they said, well, can you call your wife back home and ask her to check in the gun safe? And he's like, no, she doesn't have a firearms license. I can't give her access to the gun safe. And they said, okay, well, you'll have to do it when you get home. But here's the creepy part. He actually doesn't get, like, the window that the buyback was open from mid-January until the end of March. He's deployed that entire time. He's not here. So he has no option. He cannot participate in that. But what's even worse is he won't be home from deployment until after the amnesty expires. So he will be gone away. So he has no way to dispose of those firearms or to do anything with them before the amnesty runs out. So when he returns from deployment, he will be coming back into Canada and be subject to criminality for possession of a prohibited device without an appropriate license. So this is a major problem, because if this is the way we're going to treat our serving members of the military, and then I had someone say, well, don't they get a break? Yes, they get HLTA, which is the break you get halfway through your deployment. But a lot of people, especially if you're serving way over in Europe, choose not to come all the way back to Canada because it eats up too much of your week off, right? Yeah. Like, my daughter served a deployment in Kuwait, and she did come back to Canada. But originally her plan was just to go to Spain for a few days, right? Like, it's a very short window of a break. And this whole thing is a result of them doing this gun ban. It's been going on, as you know, for like 6 years, dragging on. All of a sudden, Gary Anandasangri announces the opening of the buyback and that registration portal. He opens that up, but keeps a really short 7-week window. Well, if you work a job where you're out of the country during that period, you're automatically excluded from it, which is crazy. And then a job like this, where you're away on deployment, what do you think it's going to do to his career when he comes back and faces charges? He would likely beat those charges in court without issue. Sure, it would cost him a bunch of money, a bunch of baloney, a bunch of BS. I know this is a family-friendly show. But at the same time,
you can say what you have to say, Tracey. You can use the words you want to use.
Okay, it's a bunch of bullshit. But what do you think that a charge like that, possession of a prohibited device, what do you think that's going to do to his military career?
Sure. No.
So
you
now,
could terminate his livelihood right there. Chances
yeah,
are it's not going to happen, but as something that we say all the time on this show is often the procedure is the punishment. The
yeah, the
process is the
protest.
punishment.
Yes.
Having to defend yourself in military court for the incompetence of your government is absolutely nonsense. How
Yeah.
much lack of
Yep.
respect do we have for our military? We're at a point where our government is opening up our military to foreigners in order for them to be fast-tracked as permanent resident, and we do not pay respect. It's absolutely insane. The country we
It's
live in
not.
right now is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's nuts. And all of this, like if you think about it, he's over there in some other country carrying around a full auto rifle, and he's going to be criminalized in his own country for owning a sporting or hunting rifle. Yeah, nice. Just an insane way to deal with your citizens.
That is crazy.
What are you getting from your members? Are you, because 32,000 over, when you say that this affects over 2 million firearms is nothing.
Firearms. It's
like
nothing.
32,000
Yeah.
is nothing. It's a few percent. It's literally a few percent.
I know, and everybody's saying the same thing. They're going to hold the line. They're just, they're waiting it out, and I'm happy for that. This email did cause a lot of people to talk about it. We've got a closed Facebook group with, I don't know, 70 or 80,000 members in it, and in there's a lot of people posting, like, kind of worried about it, right? They're not sure.
Yep.
People have been emailing and calling our office and texting. Like, my phone's been going pretty nuts. And I'm just like, this is a scare tactic to get you to comply and to get you to, excuse me, to fill out the declaration. Just hold the line if you can. Look, everybody's got to make their own decision, like I said, and do what's best for them. But if you can hold out, then hold out, because I want this program to fail, right? They said they'd pay for 132,000 firearms. If they get that, and the rest of us all just become criminals and get ripped off, they'll be like, oh, well, there we go. We're done. We did our gun ban. They don't care.
Yeah.
1.6% is the about-ish amount of firearms that were registered or declared. 1.6%.
Yeah.
To say that's a failure is an understatement.
Are they expecting that are they expecting more, or are they basically saying this is it? This is what we got?
Well, I think that's why they're sending out these emails, is they're trying to ramp up numbers, right? And so you send out a scary email like that, and gun owners, they skim through it and they see stuff like will not renew PAL, or, like the scary kind of language. Then they're like, oh, God, I better fill this thing out. So that's what they're hoping. And I mean, they will probably get a little uptake from that email. But I think a lot of people are turning to the forums and social media and just trying to see if what everyone else is doing.
Is that what you're getting? Is that what you're getting from the bigger portion of your CCFR group, that your members, that people are just holding the line? Because 1.6% is a joke. That's a mistake on this. That's smaller than a mistake on a spreadsheet.
Well, and a lot of people are posting in our group, right? Like you just want to talk to other gun owners and you want to connect with them and be like, what are you guys doing? And I'm asking people to be gentle with each other. We're all in this together. Some people, especially the younger, newer gun owners, they're worried, right? They're afraid. And it's sort of, just stick together, support each other. Don't mock them if they're asking questions. You just support them and say, you're going to be all right. Just hold the line a little while longer. Once we get through that declaration period, I would assume if they don't meet their numbers, they're probably going to keep extending it. Yeah. And if not, then they just don't care. I think ultimately they don't actually care how many firearms they pay for, how many firearms they collect. They want this thing over and done with and out of the way, because it's been a complete embarrassment. So I could see down the road. You
think they'll just let it kind of quietly fade away?
Yeah, but the problem is for the rest of us, if you're ever caught with one of these firearms, which obviously, they're not going to have another, 1.9 million firearms turned in afterwards for nothing, right? That's not going to happen. So there'll be a lot of people out there who are in peaceful noncompliance. And what'll happen is you better pray that you never, your wife doesn't have a heart attack and you have to call an ambulance, or you have a house fire, or some other reason why you would have officials in your home. Because they could come in and, oh, wait a minute, what's that? Why do you have that? And that's the problem, is it sort of drives all the gun owners underground. So I don't know.
You used a very good term. It's I was saying that today. Peaceful protest involves a large group of people engaging in nonviolent civil disobedience to enact political change, and that's been encouraged throughout our history in Canada. And this is what I see happening here, because this is a paper criminal. I'm not a real criminal. I'm not. No. You'll never be able to tell me I'm a criminal at all. You made me a criminal.
And even before this, like, peaceful noncompliance is something that has existed, especially in the firearms community, all along, because we always talk about how there's 2.3 or 2.4 million licensed gun owners. And the reason why we say licensed gun owners is because there's about 4 million unlicensed owners in possession of firearms in peaceful noncompliance. And I'm not talking about gangbangers who don't have a firearms license and they've got guns for committing crime. I'm talking about, there are people all across the country. I remember sitting with one of my ex's uncles, and we were at his place visiting, and he had a shotgun there, and he was showing it to me, and I was looking at it, and I was checking it out, and I popped it open. It was loaded, and I was like, "What are you doing with this? Sitting here in the kitchen loaded?" And he's like, "Lives way up in the mountains, right?" And he's like, he's, I don't know, 86 years old. He's gone now, but long dead now. But he was like, "Well, it doesn't work if it's not loaded. Of course I keep it loaded," and it's just this funny mentality is living out in the mountains. And yeah, he's right. Anyways, I asked him, "Do you have a pal?" And he said, "A what? Like a friend?" And I said, "No, like a possession acquisition license." He said, "What is that?" And I told him what it was. And he was sitting there with his mouth hanging open and listening for like 4 minutes while I talked. And then he said, "You're telling me I got to go take a government course and pay a fee to own the guns I've owned my whole life?" I don't think so. And that's what I mean. Like, there are people like that still to this day all across the country who are they're just not participating in the whole regime, but they're not out there committing crimes, right? They're not violent people. They're peaceful noncompliance. Yeah. And there's millions of them.
Oh, 100%. I've met quite a few where I used to live before. I lived in the middle of the woods for years. And most of the people there, they don't care about this stuff. They've been living in the woods their whole life.
Oh, yeah. He's the same uncle.
It's a place where there's bears where I live. There's bears all over the place. They will go in the woods walking. They have a 12 gauge in the backpack, because if you've never faced a bear, you understand that it's not a fight you're going to win. It's not a movie here. You're going to get messed up, and you want to have something with you. I fully understand. And everybody knows, right? Around that area, if you're walking in the woods and you're from there, chances are that dude has a gun on him, because there's bears all over the place. So.
Of course. I got a funny anecdote. Just that same uncle had the same look on his face when I told him that people from the city, we're allowed to have dogs here in the city, but we walk them on a leash, on a cord, and we follow behind them with a plastic bag. And he goes, "Well, for what?" Said, "Yep." And he could not believe it. He said, "You do what?"
No way.
He said, "What do you do with it?" And I said, "Well, you got to take it home and put it in the garbage." And he said, "Pick up your dog's poop and carry it around in a bag."
Yeah, that's so funny. That would seem so insane.
I know that's unrelated to the topic, but when you're explaining city things to country people, sometimes it's funny, and I don't know. It always made me laugh. But yeah, he was this cute little old guy, and he just couldn't believe what I was telling him, that he needed to take a government course. And I don't think at that point he could even drive anymore. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not doing any of that." So, yeah.
There was a great Simpson episode about what you just said, where the aliens are looking at humankind, and they're like, they're trying to figure out who the leaders are, and they're like, "Oh, it has to be the dogs. Those things that are walking them are picking up their poop, so obviously the leaders of this planet are the dogs." It does sound absolutely insane. Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
There's
so
one
cool.
other thing I wanted to bring up here because it's happening over the weekend, and I'm gonna read your post that you made. I think this was, when was this? The 23rd. That was yesterday. So you're basically saying Quebec is ground zero for the gum grab. We must stand united with our friends and fellow gunnies in La Belle Province. Come join me and thousands of my closest friends as we rally against the gun grab this Saturday, 10 a.m. in front of the legislature in Quebec City. So I appreciate English people supporting Frenchies like me. So thank you, first
Yes,
and
of
foremost.
course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We are not enemies.
No,
We are
of
not
course
enemies. So explain to us what you guys are doing.
Well, I'll tell you. So I know that quite a few people have picked up interest in this rally, and that's great. Look, the more the merrier. But I want to give kudos to the CCFR team, in particular, Sophie Bellon and Jason Warren in Quebec. They have just been killing it on this. There's a lot of planning work, money. The CCFR has been pouring out some money on this, but they've been planning it. Same with Martin Bourget from Radio Crash. They've done a great job, him and his co-host Kate, and Guy Morin. He's also been involved in this, and it's been a big project. I'm actually going tomorrow to pick up 500 signs that I'm bringing up to Quebec City with me. I've got a couple of hundred flags behind me in a big stack here, and big, huge rally. And I think there will be thousands of people there. Now, the last rally we did was the Integrity March here in Ottawa, and we had 5,000 people come. And I would love to blow the doors off that. And I actually think we're going to. I also tweeted, I think it's underneath that tweet, another one that lists all the buses. Because, of course, a lot of the local clubs up and around Quebec, all the way from Montreal, even here in Ottawa, Gatineau, they've got all these crazy, click show more, and you'll see, look at all of these buses that you can jump on. So if you don't want to drive up and you want to jump on with your fellow gun owners, go to one of these, wherever you are, go to one of these, jump on the bus. You don't even have to drive. You don't have to look for parking.
That's cool.
They'll take you there. You rally with us all day. We've got signs. We've got flags. You don't even have to bring anything. And then they'll take you right back again. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible. But the amount of work involved in planning all of that, organizing, I think there's 26 buses now. Like there are bus loads of people being bussed in from everywhere. So this is going to
literally.
Yeah, literally.
Bus load of people.
Yeah. So so we're gonna go. I'm driving up Friday night actually because I got to build protest signs. They give you the sign and the stick separately. So I got 500 sticks to stick on. So I'll be going up Friday night to do that in the hotel room with my volunteers. And yeah, come and join us. And everybody's welcome. They kind of turned it into a circus. I think they got a DJ. There's food trucks. Like, it looks like it's going to be a great time. So lots of YouTubers will be coming, I'm sure.
Yeah, they did great protests too during COVID. I attended one in Quebec City. It was great. It's exactly what you're describing. It's a party. It's literally a very big party, and I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen with this one. I think the guy you were talking about is Martin Bourget. He's a super known hunter guy in Quebec, and his wife or his partner is Kate Nadeau.
That's exactly who I'm talking about. So they put a ton of work into this, and as other groups and other people pick it up and put their own stickers on it, that's great. That's fine. The more the merrier. But I really want the people who've done the majority of the work to get the credit for that. So, it doesn't matter anything else, just as long as we all go together, we all unite together and show up in big numbers. I think that's the most important thing. So yeah, I'm really excited to get there and see everybody. And I'm excited to see mes amis.
Yeah, he's been around forever because I remember that guy, Aventure Chasse et Pêche. He has a show on TV that's been going on for decades.
Yes.
Plus, he's a bald guy, so you can trust that guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's a bald dude.
Yeah,
You can trust this
exactly.
guy. This guy's a cool dude. Well,
Is
go
he
ahead,
is he known as Quebec personality?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh yeah.
All the Quebecers know. And
If you own firearms in Canada or you hunt or you fish, you know who this guy is. It's just I'm looking at his pictures right now. I couldn't remember what the name of his show was, but
What's
it's
his name? Maze and Me?
Martin
no.
Bourget.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
sorry,
is as French as they come.
Yeah.
That is
How do you-
very, very French. I'm bringing it up right now. So
All right, yeah, let me see
this
guy.
this is the guy. Martin is Martin space Bourget Bourget.
Yeah, that's him. Him and Kate, and they're awesome. She's
Yep.
adorable. I actually saw them last week. We went to a town council. They drove 7 hours to come to Low Quebec to a town council meeting where they adopted a motion to oppose the gun grab. And I mean, I drove 45 minutes here from Ottawa, but they drove 7 hours, went to the 1 hour meeting, and then drove 7 hours back home. Like, these
Wow.
people are committed and they are fantastic.
Yeah, they've been around that forever. Like
Yeah,
they've been around there forever.
Yeah.
I think that guy had
Wow.
long hair when he started. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. But
Yeah, I
he's
don't
been
Yes.
he's been doing it for a very, very long time. He's a very cool dude. He's very likable. Like on camera, he loves what he does. So,
Yeah.
he's a cool dude.
Well, and Kate too. Like, she's so sweet and she's just so positive. Like, I just love their whole image. So yeah, these are the people who've been putting in the work for the last 2 or 3 months, organizing everything. And yeah, I just want to make sure they get the credit they deserve. I ordered some signs and got the CCFR to pay for them. And other than that, I'm driving up there. But yeah, these guys have put in a lot of work and they deserve it.
Nice.
Well, Tracey, thanks for coming on the show once again. It's definitely you're definitely one of the people I'm always going to reach out to when there's something going on that needs to be spoken about. You are the public relations for the biggest group of gun owners in Canada, so it only makes sense. I really appreciate your time. It's interesting that I used to follow you as a new gun owners and kind of learn from you guys, and now I get to talk to you when pretty much
That's
I want
awesome.
to. So that is very cool. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for taking the time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to speaking to you again.
Okay, awesome. We'll see you next time, guys.
See you
Thank
later,
you.
Tracy.
Absolutely. Bye,
Okay.
Tracey.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate your time.
Well, there you have it, man.
Yeah, it's a cool chat. You know, I'm not, as someone who's not necessarily in the gun debate like you guys are. It's nice to have someone like that come in and sort of explain it all to me.
That's what's cool, man, because I got the chance to reach out to some, like you look at Tracy Wilson, you look at Blair from the NFA, he's a VP there, and you look at Ian Runkle that we had, the lawyer. You're basically talking about the top 3 names, give or take, in Canada.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
that's what's cool is we got the chance to have some very, very cool people on the show, and you know, to kind of continue this, I figured I would give you guys an update as to what's going on, because we're running out of time. We're actually a bit over, but tomorrow we are joined by senior fellow at Macdonald Laurier Institute and director of GenSpec, Mia Hughes, to come talk about Bill C4, Bill C16, and talk about the school board trustee that's been fined $750,000 by the BC Human Rights Tribunal because he had the audacity to speak against the trans agenda. On Thursday, we are joined by Lee Dobson, a YouTuber that got 35 of his videos removed by request from the Attorney General of Ontario. So he's literally getting censored for exposing the courts. On Sunday, we are joined by former Navy SEALs sniper and combat instructor Craig Sawman Sawyer to speak about the work that he does with Veteran for Child Rescue. He is one of those guys that arrests and captures pedophiles. So
yeah,
if you
I'm really looking forward to that one.
He is such a nice guy too. He's a Christian, right? So everything he does is because of I think he found God after, when he kind of left the military. He found Christianity, and now everything that he does is for children, and he's a grandfather. So hear him speak. Last time I interviewed that guy, I was crying on camera because he's just such a nice guy. But but I'm telling you, man, he goes deep. Like, to him, it is a fight against evil. Like
Okay.
this guy is a Christian believer that the work that he does is God's work. I don't know if you saw Sound of Freedom, but
Nope.
you know the
Nope.
guy. You've never seen the movie Sound of Freedom, really?
I don't think so. What? Let me look it up here.
It's
But go on.
it's based on a true story. It's the same guy that played. It's the same guy that played Passion of the Christ. I can't remember what his name is, but he always plays.
Jim Caviezel. Jim Caviezel.
Yes, he's a very, very Christian guy.
Yep.
And he represents a guy that used to work for Homeland Security, and he was responsible for catching pedophiles in the US.
Oh, okay.
But
All
then
right.
he got a case where he got the opportunity to save some children, and he ends up going somewhere in South America. Like, it's been a while. I don't remember all the specific about the movie,
Okay.
but it's based on a true story. It's just for
Yeah,
most
I'm
people,
reading
they've
about it
never
now.
heard.
Looks good.
They've never heard about that. I've interviewed a lot of people in that movement. Like, I've interviewed people, police officers that used to pass as underage so that they could capture those pedophiles. I've talked to tattoo artists that covers the branding that those children get by their pimps. So
Wow.
I've been talking about this for a long time, so I'm happy to have him again on the show. You can
Yeah.
check, if you go on his website, he did release a documentary back in 2020 called Contraland. So Contraland. It's 2020 documentary, and even then, even in this one, he basically specializes in reaching out to local police, and they organize sting operations to capture pedophiles. So they set up houses, they set up fake ads to bring the pedophiles over to the house. They have somebody that's underage there to kind of make them believe that this is true, and then they arrest them. It's very interesting, the work that he does. Very, very interesting. And he talks about the routes that are being used from Mexico to get into Canada. I believe that it's in his documentary. They're at the border, and they can there's some places where people are trafficked where you can literally walk over. It's literally a tiny little gate that you open and close. Like, it looks like something in the old house in the backyard in the middle of nowhere. And he just sleeps in. He's like, oh, I'm in Mexico. Oh, I'm in US. Oh, I'm in Mexico. And they use that path to struggle people through. So they make for hard conversations because he's very in it. But man, it's going to be a hard conversation, but I love those episodes. I love to give a voice to those people because the work that they do is insane. Is absolutely insane. And
I think it'll be a
to
great
answer
chat.
Cowboy, it's not on Thursday, it's on Sunday. Sunday,
Coming
7:30
Sunday,
p.m. Yes, sir. And next week, I'm trying to get somebody. I'm still working on having a professor from Toronto University to come on the show to speak about MAID. So I'm still waiting.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be a good
I'm
chat, too.
coordinating. Yep. So yep, that's all I got.
Cool. All right, guys. Excellent show as always. Great guests, great chats. Lots of comments. If you are just tuning in and you want to support the show, please consider becoming a member. You can do that through YouTube for the low price of $2.99 per month. You can also coffee, in which you will see in your upper left-hand corner of your screen. And of course, the third and final way you can support the show is just keep coming back. Hit the like button, guys. We got to start remembering to remind everyone halfway through the episode.
Yep.
But yeah, please hit the like button there. It does help us with the algorithm. Helps push the show to a bigger audience. And I think everyone here agrees that there should be a space like this. So let's help get the word out there. Other than that, folks, have a great rest of your evening. We will see you tomorrow night for an excellent interview with Mia Hughes. Peace.
Peace.